This is especially for my new students who just sometimes watch videos to learn how to throw, and sometimes they get the idea after watching some of the European people that put YouTube videos up that it's okay to just drown your clay with water. There's a huge difference between European clay and American or what's available in the United States. Also, a lot of people that are in the business of, if pottery is their living and they have a big, huge studio or something. Ooh, I feel a lump in there. They mix their own clay, so they have the clay mixer, and they can get it to whatever consistency they want, and they can have a little more control over how much water it requires while you're throwing. Let me see if I can get rid of that lump in the middle there. So the difference is in Europe, England, France, the particles, the size of the particles in their clay is finer, more refined, I guess would be a better way to say it, is more refined. They're smaller than what you get in clay from that is manufactured in the United States. Therefore, they have the ability to use quite a bit more water in their throwing process than we can without having cracks in the bottom of the pot. Now, that cracks are probably the biggest problem that new students have, and it comes from not compressing your clay on the bottom, on the inside bottom of your pot, or wherever it cracks. Even if you're attaching something, sometimes the crack shows up, and you don't want cracks. Well, they don't get that many cracks. Of course, some of those really good professionals will be compressing the foot or the floor of their pot, and they're talking along, and you don't even realize that that's what they're doing. But you have to watch a lot of videos to be able to see what's going on. Okay, so you can tell every time I'm reaching for water, because this hand disappears because my water is on this side. I'm just going to make a little cylinder of some kind just to show you what I'm talking about. And so let me grab the camera and I'll stick my fingers in there so you can see about how much water is in this. I'm sticking my finger now. I'm just lightly, I'm not pressing at all or compressing. I'm just putting my finger in there to kind of show you how much water there is. Now I'm going to wipe that water out and see how it has kind of a matte look to it and so forth. You don't have to get the water off of the whole thing. Mostly you don't want it to sit around here, because if your piece is standing in water while it's on the bat, like so, and you just got it real juicy down there, you're going to have a problem if you try to move or press too much sideways, because then you run the risk, especially if you're a beginner and it takes you a little while to get this thing going, you may slide it right off the bat. But mainly for my beginning high school students, it is for the inside that we're talking. This is the part. You need a little bit of water. You've got to have water to make your fingers slide across the clay. Now I'm going back and forth across the bottom just to compress that clay. If you'll notice, when you're doing this, pay attention, the clay might be a little softer right in the middle, and so that's the part all the way over to the edge of the floor. The entire part of this you want to make sure you have compressed. Make sure you don't push it off round. So then stop your wheel, check for thickness. I've got about that much. That is a little skosh more. Well, it's not quite a half an inch, but it's a little more than 3/8. So now I'm going to get my fingers wet, put it back in there and compress, because I don't want that little hole to, I mean, it would probably close up by itself with you mopping the water out of there and everything, but you just want to make sure you compress that. Okay, now, since if you have a nice compressed bottom, now you can start pulling up the walls and getting this part, getting this thickness thinned out just a bit. I tend to wipe off this part. I'm not trying to get it clean right up to there. I'm just getting rid of the excess water. And then, I know it's crazy, but I'm going to put some water right back on there, but I'm not going to let it stay. Now, right in the very bottom, you can mop that out as long as you have the outside and the inside of the wall wet, so that you can start pulling that wall. Now, this video is not about how to pull a cylinder. It is mostly to tell you why we need to keep the water out of the center and just control the amount of water. See, if I want to put water on the inside of my cylinder wall, I can just put some water on this finger and let it run down my finger, and it sort of runs down that wall without putting a whole lot in there and then trying to pull it up on the wall. You can just let it dribble down. So on the outside of this, I can just get my finger wet, put it on my thumb just a little bit, or here, and it'll do that. For some reason, it seems like your hands just drink the water off of here, but the clay is absorbing it. This is going to be a jar to put things in. And it's a little more crooked than I'm willing to allow it to remain. So I'm going to take my needle tool, and with the inside, putting my fingers up against the inside of that rim, I'm just going to even that up a little bit. And I'm pushing that needle tool all the way over towards my finger. And I took such a small, if I'd taken more off, I probably would have done a neater job of this, but I don't want to lose any height. So, okay. But it's all good. Whoops. And I still have a thick enough bottom that I can make a nice little foot on there. So since you're on here with me, I might as well just go ahead and do my little external gallery. I think I have enough to do that. So I'm probably going to make a flat lid for this that has a little bit that goes on the inside so that it doesn't come off. So let's see. We will take our stick wash it off and make sure it's wet. When you do this, you want to make sure that this upper part here is moist. You don't want water sitting in there, just on here. So I'm going to do, this is called the external gallery, because I'm going to push the gallery down and then flip it to the inside. Got a little dry place right there. Got to make sure you have enough water on this. This got a little thin, so I'm going to see if I can push it back in just a little to strengthen it some. I probably should have had my thumb down there. Now, while it's sticking out like this, this is the time, whoops, my leather isn't very wet. So while it is sticking up like this, this is the time you want to put your leather on this rim, because this is going to be on the inside in just a minute. You can also do this part. Okay, so now we're going to flip our lid. We're going to flip this gallery. You want to keep fingers under it and on the outside of it. Go ever so slowly. Can you see? Whoop, got my little finger in the way there. Can you see that beginning to turn in? So you're just gently and slowly pushing that down with your thumb. And over here on this side, my little finger is actually rubbing up against that. I don't do that on purpose, but it does kind of help stabilize it while I'm flipping this. Okay, so there's my gallery, and now I'm going to change the shape of this just a bit and make that stand up a little more. Well, maybe I'll do a fitted lid. Now, at this time, you need to check your inside and make sure you don't have water sitting down in there. Put your finger under here and support that and get all the goo off of there. And then get that where you want it, because now is the time. Now, where's my leather? I'm going to put my leather on that outside part again, just to be safe. Let's see. I think I need I'm getting slurry off of there. That just helps to compress the clay just a little bit and make it a little harder. And give it more definition. there. Well, I guess I realized I didn't show you what this looks like a minute ago. I just thought you could see what I could see. But this is what, let's see, this is what my gallery looks like after I did that, and I'm still turning on the wheel here. So we created this little gallery on the outside and then flipped it to the inside, and this is what it should look like when you're. So you have this little ridge that sticks up here on the edge that'll hold your lid in place if you choose to make a lid that's going to sit down in there. Or you could make a lid that comes to the outside of that, and you could put something down in the hole. We'll talk about lids in another video.